Welcome back to the next session. And I'd now like to hand over to Josh to start. Thank you, Josh.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We're going to be talking today about how DAM and PIM, how this powerful combination can really transform your business and your organization. My name is Josh Van Dyke. I'm the Vice President of North American Sales at censhare. censhare is a platform that does DAM and PIM very well, along with several other things. But we've been pioneers in the space, in the DAM space for over 21 years, and in the PIM space for a little over a decade. I'm joined by Ken Zordani, who is a systems implementer and consultant in the PIM and DAM space, and services, I believe, like 5 different PIMs as well as maybe 10 different DAMs. So really has a lot of market knowledge around the different platforms out there. So Ken, if you want to say hello to everyone.
Hey everyone, Ken Zordani, a VP of Sales. We're really here, a full service agency, as Josh alluded to, in DAM and PIM. And happy to talk to you about the topic today.
Fantastic. So here's what we're going to talk about today. First, we're going to address some of the challenges that we see in so many different organizations over and over again. And then we're going to be talking a little bit more about what is PIM. This is a DAM event, so some people are a little bit newer to PIM and need to understand a little bit more about what that is, how PIM and DAM, that connection really creates that synergy in the business, some of the limitations of really siloed standalone systems, and then a little bit more about what comes next. So when we're looking at some of the challenges, as content creators, as data producers, here's some of the challenges we see all the time over and over again. We see this lack of version control, especially if there's separate systems or data sprawl. Do I have the right version? Is that the right version? It says final with some of these initials. I don't know. A lack of cross-team collaboration where, the product team and the marketing team aren't collaborating well. They don't know where stuff is. What else do you see, Ken?
Yeah, if you're a product team member, brand team member, it is most often days are spent in spreadsheets, emailing people in Word, trying to find out, is this the right data? And our data is everywhere. If you're a digital asset manager, is it tagged correctly? Who owns that tagging, and how do we really bring our data together in a platform that we can then push out to our channels? It's always a constant push-pull.
Yeah, for sure. And I wish that one said spreadsheets, because that's the big reason why people are saying we need to get a PIM in place. And here's a few other things, Ken, that you see a lot, right?
Yeah, if you have a PIM, whether CPG, manufacturing, or retail, it's really a vendor onboarding piece. They're sending us data and imagery. Do we have an easy way of bringing that vendor into our ecosystem to then resell their products? Most often, there isn't an easy way to do it. No way to push that content out and data out to, the Amazons, the Wayfairs, or to our e-commerce channel really easily, which PIMs do relatively effectively. There's no way to create the relationships or product bundles. How do we add this pillow or this textured stuff to a couch? Like, how do we build these products? And then the approvals. Is this product have enough data and marketing to it that it can actually go out to our channels? A lot of information isn't known, which leaves us falling short of expectations for our consumers.
For sure. And then we also oftentimes see that there isn't much digital rights that's managed well, because people are like, can I sell this here? Where does this go? When can we use this? And there isn't a tremendous amount of strategy. And that's why I think people are on this call, is because they want to have a strategy. They don't want to be tactical. They want to be strategic about how do we integrate something like this? How do we bring something like this into our organization? So for those of you who don't know a lot about PIM, why is PIM so synergistic with DAM? Ken, tell us a little bit about your experience there with PIM.
Yeah, most often people understand PIM to be product information management. We like to kind of pivot that a little bit to be product marketing information management. We have our master source systems, MDM, ERP, PLM, that has all that master source data, but it's really how we adjust and use that data to market to our end consumers or our resellers, right? So the PIM is going to really bring all that rich content that our creatives and brand teams have put together wrap a marketing data to it, and then push it out in a very seamless, automated way for the most part. And PIM ultimately is going to help companies sell better. It's going to allow us to enrich our products in a way that helps have more conversions and really improve searchability and discoverability, as well as sell faster. We can grab content, master source data, enrich it with marketing content, and then sell it faster. We are much quicker to market than our competitors, and then sell anywhere. Whether it's B2B, B2C, we can streamline and shorten that process down by having a PIM in our ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. And what we see is that it really affects some of these consumer targets. So when we're looking at some of the things that we're aiming to do and accomplish in this life cycle, and starting out with, inform and inspire, Ken.
Yeah, it always goes back to data. I always say data is the love note to the future. And if you don't have it, no one likes to put it in.
That's right.
The business is going to flounder. And it's a 72% of online shoppers. If the data isn't there, the imagery isn't there, they're not comfortable with that purchasing decision, they're not going to buy that product. They're going to move on to a different product that has that. And that's not going to inform or inspire our consumers to purchase our product, which is really the first step in the buying cycle.
Yeah, for sure. And then, building that trust. They say that 88% of consumers or customers who highly trust a brand bought again from that brand. And I know I've done this many, many times where you had a really good experience. And so you're like, oh, let me just go back to them. Let me try that again. Right.
Yeah. If you have the right data, you have the right imagery, you have a good buying process, you're building that buying trust. And that goes into 62% of consumers are going to have a brand loyalty to that product or company. And how many of us have the rewards points on a credit card or airline carrier that we will spend a little bit more to get those points? That is brand loyalty at its finest. And that's been developed over many, many engagements and touch points on whatever device at any time, by having the right data and imagery to really market to that consumer. So
yeah, for sure. I've stayed at different hotels simply because I want those points, even though I'm paying more than the hotel that's next door that's similar, right?
Yep.
So fostering that brand loyalty is huge. When we start to look more at the strategy of how DAM and PIM can together really hit those consumers and hit those consumer targets, and we start to look at the strategy, there's some cores in that strategy that maybe we want to address here first, right?
Yeah, it is. It's all about digital and the physical. Brick and mortar buying habits are changing every day, but we need to be able to have signage and POP that's going to be in stores to tell our story to that consumer that walks in the door, as well as on the digital footprint, whether it's on a mobile phone or your PC or social media, and it directs them to your e-commerce channel. We need to have that closed circle to really engage with that consumer at any moment.
And what you start to see as this starts to build out is how much DAM and PIM kind of overlap and combine within an organization, and how it starts to affect every part of your organization. Whether that be you have product data you've got to store in there, dimensions, sizes, prices, SKUs, whatever it may be. The product relations on, hey, this product is part of this product, or this product has 7 products within it. Or we want to cross-sell to that other product because it's related. Who are we marketing to? Who's that product persona? Do we have the product documents? Do we have the right documentation that they can see everything and say, yes, we need this? Do we have, consumable media, whether that be videos or product images, to say, oh, I have a really good understanding of what this is. I feel comfortable about it now, to make me make that purchasing decision. Do we have the megaphone, right? Are we actually, getting that voice out there? Are we getting our message heard? And if so, are we bringing those analytics back in-house to say what's resonating with our audience? What's really working here? Campaign management, making sure we're hitting those targets in the print templates, to make sure that if you have some in-store signage or in-store flyers or whatnot, or a catalog that needs to go out. And then how does this affect how the organization? Well, you can see how this really dives into so many different areas of the organization and touches so many people, from your marketing and your designers, your social media, your product team, the internal and external photographers, that campaign manager who's keeping everybody on task, the strategist making sure everything's working on time, and even down to the customer service person who, hey, is working on a chat or takes a phone call. They need to make sure they have the right information to be able to service the customer. And, you know, these leads to that core system, you know, Ken, that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's two modes of operation, right? You have a separate DAM, a separate PIM, or do you have one platform that you can be able to manage all this data, content, the user experience from the employee side, as well as, you know, if you're having externals being in the system, to be able to be successful in how we're launching our products, talking about our products, managing our products, that enables us to scale the business and really drive automation where it's possible, right? Through workflows, tasks, and pushing data in and out of to kind of your B2B, B2C channels. And then once that automation is built in that core platform, how do we drive innovation? What projects have we always tabled because we didn't have the technology to launch this new initiative? Well, now we do, because we've really built a core ecosystem within a core platform to drive that. So,
Yep.
you know, it's always about increased conversions and revenue.
And that's what it looks like when you have a strategic approach versus a tactical point solution approach. It really looks like this single source of truth where, in the center is all of the content that you're working with around the product information and all your digital assets and your rights. But we're tying into those systems that are important to you. So we might be pulling in information around the products from your ERP or your MDM, but locking that information down in here because you don't want a marketer maybe editing the size of something, right? But as things become, we work things through approvals on the product side and on the content side, and it's ready for delivery, this is able to get pushed out to any channel that's important to you, whether that's your app or your website or print or social or whatever it may be. We're able to create that real single source of truth, right?
Yep.
Now, Ken, the PIM DAM topic in the last several years has become really popular. And I don't know if you've seen this, but I see it all the time where every DAM starts to say, we can do PIM, and every PIM is starting to say, we can do DAM, right? But we both know that if you don't really have a true DAM and a true PIM in your system, there are some strong limitations within that system, right?
Correct.
So
when we look at the PIM with limited DAM capabilities, some PIMs don't even support thumbnails that are recognizable. They're just, a placeholder for that image. So you have no idea what that image is, and it doesn't support certain file formats. You can't bulk edit metadata or, even support different versions of assets at times. The relationships and cross linking to assets to products. The InDesign linking and catalog creation does not happen most often in a PIM, or it's so complex they have to go find another point solution. So you could probably add 4 or 5 more onto this for those that do have a PIM onto the limitations of PIM to DAM. So
yeah, and there's a lot of PIMs out there that they say we can store a file, so we can have an image, but that isn't a DAM, right? And same, DAMs have limited PIM capabilities. Just because you can have some metadata around products doesn't mean you can handle PIM. And they really struggle with product management, bundling of certain products, where you can say, hey, we want to bundle these 3 together and make an offer. Right? If you like this, you should buy these 3 together. DAMs just can't do that. They really struggle with entity inheritance, being able to take a master product and then inherit some of that data down to its child products, keeping certain fields, but maybe changing the size or the weight depending on what the type of product it is, and managing those variants of those products. They really struggle with that type of stuff in the DAM world. Huge one, Ken, right? Many to one to many, right? We talked to a client the other day that was like, hey, we have 300 SKUs, but they could make, or 300 products, excuse me, but it could make millions and millions of SKUs from that, right?
Correct.
And and then those the automation of updates. So as a product, maybe a material changes or the product description changes, are you able to then quickly update everything everywhere it's been published, and so that everyone that's consuming it is receiving the latest and greatest details around that product? And there's a go ahead.
Yeah, if you have a siloed approach of a independent DAM and an independent PIM, you really have a double investment, right? From licensing, support, implementation, migration, training, knowledge base, just user continuity, adding additional FTEs to manage both applications. So the worth of having a core system to manage both of these is exponentially better. And finding the right one is the key, right? Understand the business value, and there's so much more.
And by the way, a lot of people out there might go, gosh, Ken, Josh, how do I know if I go to somebody's website and they say they have PIM and they say they have DAM, if they really have a robust enough PIM and DAM? We've got you covered. We'll share this a little bit later, but we actually have our top 14 tips and questions to ask vendors when procuring a PIM and DAM solution together. And when you have two separate siloed systems of a PIM and a DAM, the other thing you don't get is how everything is connected. So one of the things that we have within censhare is a graph database, and it shows you this 360-degree view of how all the products, the assets, the relationships are all connected for a really unified experience. So I can see, who uploaded the asset, who authored it, who approved it, who published it, where it was published, what products are related to it. Hey, this product has 6 different images plus a video. It's been featured in this content. It's part of this data technical sheet. It has these different brands associated with it, with different rights associated with them. And so really, really important when you have the system together, especially in that graph database, to be able to see it all together. Excuse me. One other thing we want to show you is a little bit around a case study. And Ken, this is a customer, Bega, that we worked on together. Maybe you could tell our audience a little bit about them today.
Sure. They started and were looking for a DAM and as well as a PIM. And the case study was that they were able, when we reviewed how they manage their data, 70% of their data on their website was inaccurate. They had no single source of truth for their product marketing data or even ERP data. We were able to bring it into a platform and automate how they create their specification sheets for their engineers to sell their high-end lighting for industrial and commercial purposes. The most successful project they've had in over a decade. So yeah, it's really accelerated their go-to-market.
And by the way, I hope everyone on this call heard what Ken said. They did an audit and they found that 70% of their data had some inaccuracy on some products. So you have a product, maybe not everything's wrong, but 70% of the time, something is wrong with either on your website or your data technical sheet or whatever. That's a huge cause for concern. So they did an audit of just a few different products and found, hey, based on this limited number that we did the audit on, we know we've got a problem. So that kind of leads into what comes next. What we suggest is really take an honest mental inventory at how effective is your organization at, kind of understanding and managing and collaborating and leveraging your digital assets and your product information and creating that ecosystem. And oftentimes what we find is when people take that honest look, they go, ooh, this is more challenging than I thought, and we don't have everything together as well as we should. To know the right questions to ask the vendors. It's really easy to get wooed by a sexy demo and, a really pretty UI and UX. But really, you want to know the right questions to ask a vendor so that you end up with a solution that you will have for a decade or more, right? Not something you're re-procuring in just in a couple of years. So we, as I mentioned earlier, we actually developed our top 14 tips for procuring PIM PIM and DAM together. These are direct questions you can ask vendors and know why you're asking them and what the relevant reason you're asking them in the response. If you want this, you can just shoot me a quick email at jvd@censhare.com. Super easy email address, jvd@censhare.com. And then, lastly, schedule a time to pick our brains. We'd love to, talk to you about your specific case and, the problems or challenges you're looking to solve. So here's our contact details. We'd like you to feel free to reach out to us. Again, whether that's for the tips. And then lastly, visit the censhare booth as we are giving away 5 different $100 gift cards to Amazon. So please go ahead and visit the booth. Yeah, 5 different ones. We want a lot of winners.
That's awesome.
So yes. And so Ken's details are here. Ours are here. Feel free to email us for the top tips, visit the booth for the drawing and some other collateral that we have in there around PIM and around DAM.